What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome back. It's your boy Blue, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 question mark? Like it's real though. It's coming. This is a real thing, and I'm just as confused and sort of excited as you are. I'm not really sure how to feel exactly, but I've watched the trailer over and over and over again, and I've been breaking it apart, and I want to share with you a few things that I believe most of us have missed at our first glance. And I also have some more information from Microsoft Flight Sim that's come out since the release of the trailer, so we'll start there. And this is going to answer one of the biggest questions all of us have, and Microsoft themselves have stated that Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is a standalone simulator and the next generation sequel to Microsoft Flight Simulator that launched in 2020. Current aircraft and airports that are in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, as well as virtually all marketplace add-ons, will be supported in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. So you can't be anywhere clearer than that. This is a brand new game. So let's go down and take a look at the trailer, and me just kind of point out a few things that you guys may have missed. So we'll start here on this shot. It looks to be the LA skyline with a wildfire out in the back near the mountains. But we'll get back to that. Let's first kind of pick apart the actual city. The city doesn't look to be like it's changed really at all. You can still see kind of some of the buildings over here on the right are just kind of, odd shaped and not perfect. Obviously this is running ultra graphics. The trees and these buildings are kind of muddy down here in the kind of in the foreground of the shot, and just you can tell there's not much improvement here as far as the scenery city-wise and the orthogrammetry and whatnot. You're also noticing this line here on the horizon, which is something I've noticed in Microsoft Flight Sim that they definitely have not gotten rid of. I'm surprised that you can even see it in one of their trailers that's showcasing on Xbox. You see that line there? I'm not sure if you can see that on the video. Now, let's talk about the wildfire. Interesting enough, the wildfire is pretty cool, right? It's blowing in the wind. You can definitely tell that they're using the same cloud textures that we're used to seeing when it comes to the weather system. Just kind of manipulate them in a way to kind of mimic smoke. But I do like it. I think this is a pretty cool. I mean, that'd be pretty epic to fly up to and see the smoke going up and also blowing with the wind. Also, again, kind of back on the cloud subject, you'll see here at the top, they might be improved a little bit. I'm not going to hold my breath on the actual clouds being improved in Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. All right, I love this shot. Here we have an aircraft flying in to do aerial firefighting. You see LA again in the background, looking really good, looking really crisp. Currently, you rarely get to see a city from this far away looking that good. Usually at this distance, you would see the city looking like pyramids at this point. We all know this. But you're noticing it's also surrounded by like this smog layer, which is really interesting. I wonder if they're gonna add more actual fog effects or kind of like city smog. It's something we don't really get in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 currently. But also, we got the fire. The flames look incredible here. If I hit play in slow motion, you can see just how good that looks there. And then also the trees down here are also 3D trees. You can actually see the entire trunk. You can see the leaves. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. And then here we go, aircraft flying over, dropping the water. The flames look very believable. Water falling out looks very believable. Looks very nice, very nicely done. This shot tells a lot. Look at the way this thing flies in. And again, the way the water falling out of the aircraft just looks really nice. The shading on it looks good. You can see the water is not just some kind of transparent thing. It actually is casting a shadow here on the right side, and the lighting is, kind of reflecting off of it here on the left. All right, in this shot, we have a helicopter rescuing a victim from some type of car crash. It's like a Jeep of some sort that's fallen down the mountain. But the really cool thing about this shot, besides the mission itself, is the environment and the trees. You can see, again, more proof of the 3D trees. And also you're noticing the variations of types of 3D trees being drawn in the environment as well. When we play this, you'll see that there is a downwash effect now coming from the helicopter. One thing that's really bothered me when flying helicopters is kind of like the disconnect from the environment. And I feel like a lot of the new features they're bringing with this new update, or this new game, I'm sorry, is the kind of being able to bridge the gap between the aircraft and the environment. as well here on this shot. Again, just to kind of solidify and clarify that. So again, we have these trees here that are underneath the helicopter actually being blown around as the helicopter comes in, and these trees that are not underneath the helicopter are just staying still and blowing naturally with the wind. But we also have some new 3D people or avatars being used with new animations and things like that, which is pretty nice. Another thing I'm noticing, and it's more speculation, look at these rock faces. Look how detailed these rocks are. Are they in special locations where special scenery has been built specifically for these missions? Or are we getting, you know, better scenery throughout the entire world? And here we are, a really good close-up of the trees blowing in that downwash. That looks really good. That looks really good. And now we're offshore. So we have a oil rig of some sort, as well as a ship here. And this scene looks believable. If I were to post this picture on Instagram, you would think it was real. It looks incredible. But one thing I will say, and I'm noticing that is a bummer. I mean, it's not a ship simulator, even though some of us wish it was, or it could, you know, kind of play that part. But we're noticing there's no kind of wake effects coming from the ships themselves. We do know that aircraft that land on water do cause wake effects, but any like ships like these don't seem to do it. At least not these objects. I think these are more of like scenery objects rather than like a drivable boat, because I've seen third parties make drivable boats that do make wakes behind them. But this looks really nice. You got some smoke coming off the top of that oil rig as well. The water looks pretty much the same. I don't see any difference really. It looks good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that looks freaking incredible. But I don't see a massive change in the water versus what we have now in Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. The oil rig though looks amazing. Look at the detail down here, and look at the stairs going up on the side. I mean, this literally looks like a Call of Duty map in Microsoft Flight Sim. As we go up, you can see the even more detail, the tanks, the lifeboats here. That looks nice. The scaffolding, the cabling hanging, the chains going underneath. That is very, very well done. It looks really good. But again, you notice that the ship here, even though it's kind of anchored in its position, it really doesn't feel like it's really on the water. It more feels like just a static asset that's just sitting there. It's not really believable in motion, in my opinion. And then we have this shot. And my speculation, again, is this is probably a cutscene for a mission within its own mission mode. I doubt we're gonna get to actually play as an avatar. I would personally love that. I was just talking about that recently. Like, you know, it'd be really cool to be able to actually like have an avatar, be an avatar in the Microsoft Flight Simulator world and actually walk to your aircraft, do walk around, stuff like that. It'd be kind of nice. Helicopter looks very nice. Look at it starting up there. You can see it here lifting off the helipad, and you actually see that generator just kind of waving in the wind, and the physics there are definitely playing a part. You can see it as it's flying towards that ship over there as well. Flying to the cargo ship, and I'm not seeing any animations. In order to stay that still and fly a helicopter, you're always moving your feet. And so his feet are not moving, so it may be something that's just not implemented yet. But that's one thing I noticed, that the feet are not moving in the helicopter at all, even though they should be. Here it is, dropping off the generator here on the ship, and look at that. Look at the slack. Look at that. That's nice. And into this shot. So I wanna pause here, because there's a few things in this shot that are very interesting to me. This is obviously some type of handcrafted airport. You can see there is an interior with incredible lighting, by the way. But look at this. The puddles. These puddles look much nicer than what we see currently in Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. You're seeing the reflection as well coming off the bottom, but these puddles here, it's not raining. It's like it just rained recently, but that could be a major upgrade. Sim-wide, a major update to all airports is having those puddle effects. There's also an A330 sitting here for Air Portugal, which is interesting. We don't currently have an A330 to fly in Microsoft Flight Sim by default. There is a freeware one that's okay, but we don't have one. So are we going to get an A330 on Microsoft Flight Sim? That's the question. Or is this some type of new traffic implementation where you're actually going to get live traffic with actual real world airlines? That's one big complaint right now for me with Microsoft Flight Sim and having the real world traffic turned on, is that it just looks like some horrible models. Are they going to improve the 3D models of their AI traffic and put real world liveries on them? These missions that we're getting to see, these careers, are probably going to be a single player experience, which it's cool. Kind of like the Bush trips or Discovery series, stuff like that. It'd be really nice if we could do it co-op. Now we got these guys walking in with the stretcher, with the patient on the stretcher, bringing it over to the air medic. Looks like a caravan. And here we are. So we're back on the farm, Farmer Blue. So we have this nice crop duster. And one thing that I pointed out that noticed to me is, first of all, this scenery that we're at. I think, again, this is going to be another kind of scenario, kind of another focus area where the scenery around this mission purposefully built. We got some crater on the left. We got a tank there. We got the grass here is actually much lower and shorter than the normal default grass that we usually see in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Another good shot of kind of like giving you like the ground perspective, right? You got a person walking up to an aircraft and you're seeing this from a different angle than we usually do. Check out the cornfield. We have crops in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Look at that. Again, is that something that's gonna be sim-wide, or is this only gonna be in a specific area? Because there's a lot of farms in the world. It'd be really nice to see actual farms or actual like corn or wheat growing. But again, look at that. You can see this massive cornfield there behind him as he's flying through and over it. Great view right there of a massive farm. That's very nice. Very nice. All right, here we are on the top of a mountain with a couple of hikers. Some new animations, some new 3D modeling of some people. Here comes a rescue helicopter flying up. It looks like the same helicopter we saw in the offshore shots and the other rescue shots. Looks like another scenario where they've made this specific location look a lot better than what you may notice as you fly around the world. But again, some more 3D trees there. You'll notice also as I play, you'll notice that the grass itself is going to start moving around in that wake turbulence as a helicopter comes to a hover above it. And then we have skydiving. Now, I've been skydiving in real life, and this is exciting. That's pretty cool. I have to ask, are we going to get a chance to play the perspective of a skydiver, or are we only the skydiving pilot? I love how the skydivers even have GoPros on them. That's pretty cool. Very nice. Very nice. And here we have something very unique, and I've actually seen this helicopter in person, and they're huge. But basically, aerial construction. This is probably going to be extremely difficult. I don't know what the what the measure of failure is going to be for this, but being able to go into a hover and put a power line together is going to be so darn hard. But you guys can see a couple people walking around. Interesting. So we're going to have a new helicopter, which is nice. Wondering what all types of missions are going to allow you to use with it. And finally, we have some fixed wing action. The Airbus Beluga, and you can see it has another aircraft inside of its cargo bay. Looks like it may be an A350. And once again, this looks like some kind of a cutscene, most likely to start off the mission. A lot of people walking around. These are all kind of the default people that you have on the ground crew for ramp agents and whatnot. There's a door shutting there, massive wheels and tires. One thing I really wonder about the industrial cargo transport is how is that going to work exactly? Are they going to be based off of real missions that tend to happen, you know, from the factory to the assembly plant, stuff like that? How long are those flights going to be? You know, I think people can have a lot of fun with that. All right, so here we have another new aircraft being showcased here, as well as a few new avatars, possibly. Usually, we only get the ramp agents with the yellow high visibility jackets, but here we have the orange ones with some blue pants and some yellow helmets. But I think the focus here is going to be kind of like this scenery that we see here that they're flying into, as well as a new aircraft as it flies in. But very nice. You can see them coming in for a landing in this very cold, snowy region. We're getting the snow kicking up in the air, which is, again, is not new. That's already a feature in Microsoft Flight Simulator, so nothing new there. But I believe that these missions for remote cargo are definitely going to allow people to kind of go and explore some places that they never even knew existed. That's going to be pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to that. They don't show any shots of the cargo being loaded or unloaded, but I'm wondering if, any of the actual exterior doors will be animated. And here we have a showcase of kind of more of the executive side of aviation. Now, before we move on from here, I want to kind of point out that as you know, most of the Asobo aircraft that we get by default in Microsoft Flight Sim, the doors basically like never open. And so this is a nice change. We have a default aircraft, it's got a diamond with the cargo doors wide open, as well as I believe this may be where you change the oil. I may be wrong about that, but that's actually a nice little touch that, the TBM, for example, we've been begging for them to allow us to open the doors on that thing. Same thing with the King Air. And here we have a couple of VIPs walking in from a limo. And here we have air racing for all of our aerobatic pilots and just people who are just competitive. You can see we're flying around somewhere in possibly Italy. I'm not sure with the pylons there, but that's pretty cool. I'm actually pretty excited about that. I've actually personally really enjoyed the Reno Air Racing DLC. And I think that if you enjoy that, you'll definitely enjoy this. It's also multiplayer, so hopefully they bring that on. And here we have glider flying. So this is a very niche thing, and I don't really see anything particularly new in this shot besides maybe this scenery. But I am hoping that in this next version of Microsoft Flight Sim that they do improve the glider pilot experience. And here we have a shot of a tornado tearing through the countryside here. And this is something that's pretty exciting. So scientific research is a new thing. I'm wondering if this is the only aircraft you can do it with, or if there's multiple. Do we have a camera there? I'm not sure what all, features you can do with this camera. That's something we'll have to find out later. But the tornado thing is interesting. I'm wondering, is a tornado going to be something that's only going to be for this mission? Or is it possible now that tornadoes can spawn in the open world based on real world weather data? That's my question. And also, does the wind around a tornado actually affect the aircraft? I think that may be one of the most important things. Also, take a look at this. You can see that in this shot, the tornado is coming down here, but we also have all of this dust being blown around the tornado as well and spinning as well, which is pretty interesting too. And here we have experimental flying. Looks like we're in some sort of canyon. Again, showcasing the 3D trees. There's some actual bushes here as well, which leads me to believe that they may be redoing all of the foliage in Microsoft Flight Sim. That's be pretty interesting. These rocks look really incredible as well. Again, I'm wondering if this is more of a location-based thing where they just made some special scenery for the area. But look at this canyon. Wow. And go on to the A-10 Warthog shot. Low altitude training. That's pretty cool. Now, this brings me more questions than anything else. Is this a multiplayer thing? Are these multiple people flying in A-10 Warthogs in a training mission in multiplayer? Or is this a single player mission where they've, injected a few or a squadron of wingmen and you have to follow along with them or something like that? Questions. But again, you can see this canyon looks so good. It's so high detail. Are they going to update the detail of these mountain ranges and things like that? Or again, is this once again one of those locations, because there's a mission here, they've redone the scenery especially for that? And then here is something very interesting, something we've been asking for a long time, and that is not executive transport services, which is cool too, but seasons. Now, one thing I want to point out in this shot is look at how different the trees look now that they're actually 3D trees and not just what we had before Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. Very different look. I think it looks way better. I thought the trees looked pretty good in Microsoft Flight Sim 2020, but I mean, look at this. You can see the seasons changing. The way they change green, there's various types of trees down there. We have the fall season, which is pretty nice. And then we have the winter season all covered in snow. That is very, very nice. One thing that I didn't see is what does winter look like when it's not snowing? So here we are in a blimp, the first official blimp for Microsoft Flight Sim. Again, More trees here on the right, and one of the thing that I'm pointing out so much about the trees is the difference. These trees are not the same trees we saw in previous shots. Because it's in a different climate, a different region, the trees look slightly different. It's a different type of tree. I'm not a tree enthusiast. I don't know all the names, but we got that. Again, more trees. Trees in Africa. Completely different looking trees. Is this Africa? Yeah, this is Africa. I think it was Africa. Then we have water buffalo. And something interesting with the, and I know we have hot air balloons. That's also new to Microsoft Flight Sim, but we have more of an organized herd of animals here, rather than it just kind of being random like it was. I mean, we had animals before, but now they're kind of like purposefully herding to somewhere. I'm not sure how that goes, but that's new. Also, notice that there is dust coming off of the tracks of these water buffalo as well, which is another new thing. Before, the animals just walk around, that was about it, but now we actually have some effects as well being implemented there. But also we have hot air balloons. If you listen to the audio of the video, you would hear the actual sound of the fire being blown up into the balloon as it flies up. It's actually pretty nice. So interesting to see how they do that. This trailer was such a tease, and I have so many questions now. I think we all do. But thankfully, Microsoft have already answered a few of our biggest questions. And a couple more of those are, what kind of support can Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 players expect to see once Flight Simulator 2024 has been released? And their answer is, we will continue to deliver our Microsoft Flight Simulator 2022 roadmap, which has content ranging from aircraft and avionics updates, sim updates, city and world updates, and also the free Dune DLC. We will continue to support Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 post the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 launch. So whenever the 2024 version of Microsoft Flight Sim comes out, this is me talking now, you are not forced to upgrade or buy the new version. You can still fly the old simulator if for whatever reason you don't want to upgrade, don't have the money to, don't want to, whatever it is, you can still play the old one. It will still be supported for however long. It don't say how long, but it will be supported after launch. The next question is, will all purchases users have made from the marketplace be transferable to the new simulator? And the answer is, with very few exceptions, virtually all add-ons that work in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 today will function in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Add-ons that were purchased from the in-simulator marketplace will not need to be repurchased in Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, which is so good to hear, because I know a lot of people were worried that all the money that we've spent on add-ons and aircraft and DLC for Microsoft Flight Sim are going to be just put to waste when the new one comes out. So that's good. It'll be able to carry over to the new simulator. I know it's a standalone game. Does this mean that we're going to have to completely rebuy the entire game again? Are we going to get a free update? Are we going to get a discount if we already own the old game? So many questions, and as soon as I find out the answers to them, I will let you know. So what do you think? Are you excited about the new sim in 2024? Personally, I'm not sure how I feel just yet. I have just so many questions. So I'm looking forward to meeting Microsoft Flight Sim at Flight Sim Expo this year. They will be there. Hopefully we'll learn more about this new generation of Flight Simulator, and I'll definitely let you guys know what I learn when I get back. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember, you have 3 choices: give up, give in, and give it all. You got peace, love, and God bless you. I'll see you guys next time, next video. I'm out.